Peace, everybody. How you doing? This is George Williams, and I want to talk to you about why do subcontractors fail and what you can do as a subcontractor or an owner to protect yourself against subcontractor failure. Subcontractor default is a problem that is neither understated nor underreported. Everyone in the industry is familiar with it and the consequences of the likely. Yet it's always a surprising situation when a subcontractor goes into default on a project. About 10 years ago, the construction economy started to tank, and the industry experienced a wide number of subcontractor defaults. Even though the economy is coming back strong under President Trump's administration, it's natural to think that defaults will be less common. But fact is that subcontractor default is 2 times more likely in this recovering period than it was 10 years ago. Therefore, it is more important now than ever to review why subcontractors fail and what everyone else should be doing about such failures, including subcontractors. According to the SBA and construction executive, cash flow, lack of access to capital, and tough work are just some of the reasons, the top 3 reasons, should I say, why subcontractors fail. Subcontractor failure is a clear problem, but there are options for companies to mitigate risks of such failures. Understanding why subcontractors fail can fix the problem at the source, as opposed to focusing on too many failure symptoms. Now let's look at the cash flow issue that some subcontractor owners and businesses have. The most basic explanation for subcontractor failure is that the business organization simply runs out of cash. There are many reasons for this. Most notably, subcontractors are expected by many to float the project cost. They pay for all the materials on terms, pay all laborers weekly, give up to 10% of their revenue in retainage withholdings, and then have to wait 30, 45, or even 60 days or longer after funding the cash to get paid from general contractor or the owner. These are unrealistic expectations for any company that is not flush with capital. This is one of the main reasons why subcontractors fail, because they simply run out of cash. Lack of access to capital. Because subcontracting is such a risky and cash-hungry business, it's really difficult for these businesses to get capital access from traditional banking sources. This is especially true in a recovering economy, where lenders, Well, a lot of lenders are more reluctant to fund construction investments than ever before. The result is that subcontractors lack any access to affordable capital. When they are pushed to get funding, they pay higher rates, which puts them into a vicious cycle of interest payments and cash needs. Tough work. Let's look at this problem. The transaction is simple if you sell washing machines, A buyer gives a seller money, the seller gives the buyer a washing machine. The machine may have a flaw, but identifying that flaw and fixing it is pretty simple. Such is not the case for subcontracting. In that business, work is layered upon the work of tens or hundreds of other parties. The work itself must be a subjective type approval. And there are many things that can go wrong on a job site that puts the subcontractor in a practical or legal crosshairs. This all feeds into the aforementioned problems, as this is yet another cause for heightened cash needs. So let's look at who is affected by subcontractor failure and what you can do about it. Everyone associated with a construction project is affected by a subcontractor failure. Those at the top of the chain, like general contractors, developers, and lenders, must absorb the loss. They either have to find another contractor to do the work and deal with the inevitable payment and damages dispute. This likely causes project delays and additional expenses. And as you know in the construction business, when there's a project delay, there's a delay on the money also. A lot of people will not get paid. Other subcontractors on the job, although likely horizontal to the defaulting contractor, are affected because of the delay and expense caused on the job as a whole, becoming yet another thing that contributes towards the odds of their own failure. And finally, the suppliers and equipment providers are left hanging dry on their terms to the defaulting subcontractor. The failure of a subcontractor can be sudden and can cause vast problems. Therefore, the question is whether anything can be done about it. Here are the top 3 ways to protect yourself against subcontracting failure. Lien rights. Though this one doesn't apply for those at the top of the chain, like general contractors, owners, and lenders, it is the number 1 protection measure because of how enormously effective it is for all of the other affected parties. In fact, it is even effective for the defaulting subcontractor, as it can put it in the best position possible to claw its way out of a bankruptcy proceeding. This is why I always suggest if you're a subcontractor, own your lien rights. Make sure you get lien rights. Lien rights protects a company's right to get paid for work, and more importantly, prevent companies from being placed into the back of the payment line. A subcontractor in the front of the payment line avoids cash problems and is insulated from others defaulting on the project as well. So this is why you need to have lien rights. So let's look at surety bonds. Surety bonds is another one of my favorites. Subcontractors can obtain performance bonds and payment bonds, and it's common for general contractors, owners, as well as lenders to require some subcontractors to acquire these bonds. When a subcontractor has these bonds, a default is less burdensome because of the surety bond will compensate the affected parties for the losses. Pre-qualification. Let's analyze this one also. Pre-qualification often is used by top-of-the-chain parties to assess the likelihood of failure by a lower-tiered party, such as a subcontractor. But it also can be used by lower-tier parties like subcontractors to assess the problems that might arise by higher-tier parties. Pre-qualification can work both ways. Everyone is affected by default and should do preliminary analysis to avoid the same. Examining the ability of a subcontractor or examining the ability for a subcontractor to deal with the expected cash flow challenges is a necessary evil in today's construction economy. And in order to survive in the construction industry as a subcontractor, you're going to have access to capital. This would do two things for your business. It will solve your cash flow problem, and it will give you the much needed capital that you need in order not only to survive, but to grow your business. To learn more about how you can secure 6 figures in working capital for your business fast, click the link in the description box below. Thank you.